that. And I think we are live, or should be very shortly. Alrighty, we are live. And thank you guys for stopping by. I wanted to kind of follow up on some of the news from FarmCon, since it was just this week, and basically just go over what some of the stuff I had seen. I took a lot of screenshots from the videos. I took screenshots from the blog and stuff, and I wanted to kind of go over some of the stuff that's new. One thing I wanted to point out right away is this is comparison of two pictures from basically the FS17 graphics system. FS19 to the FS22. And if you guys see, I think you can see my mouse. Right here there's no shadows whatsoever in the back whatsoever. And then if we switch to this picture here, this is the same map. This is the Swiss map that was included as part of that final update. And we got shadows a long ways away. We got shadows back here. We got shadows look like over here. And this is a big deal, just being a very small thing. Both for maps that have a lot of hills, that might be 3D hills, not actually part of the terrain, and also for trees. Because a map like the interior, which has a lot of trees, having those trees cast shadows and not totally destroy the game that's a pretty big deal. So that's one kind of small thing that they hinted at the in FarmCon. Another thing, of course, we've been talking or hearing about for a little while is the gearbox, and they finally teased that. I don't have any video to play. Mainly because I don't want to get into copyright issues, but we do know that it sounds like almost every tractor and the trucks and a lot of other stuff is going to have gearboxes, and it sounds like those gearboxes will have differences between machines, so it won't just be one 6-speed or one very simple transmission. We should have a variety of stuff available for different types of machines. And the sound, based on the little teaser that they showed, is a significant improvement. The sound in previous FS games has been pretty lackluster, but the new game sounds way, way better. And I think that driving and things that involve long periods of time, plowing, various tasks, will feel a lot better with the new system. Parallax occlusion, I'm sure you guys have all heard of this by now, but if you haven't, we have a new system that gives a 3D effect to the ground. We don't have 3D ground yet. We probably will never have 3D ground at this point, but I think that this is a major step in the right direction. It's going to make, again, screenshots and videos and everything is going to look a lot better. This is a comparison between our old system and the new, and while this doesn't look bad, you have a lot of ridging back here that you would not be able to see physically standing here, whereas from here it's a lot lighter. There's one other picture here kind of showing more of it's like a normal map on steroids. This detail is popping out a lot better than it is here. I'm looking forward to this a lot. The Kloss, this is the I guess the gift for buying the game in early access or ahead of schedule. Pre-orders, and it looks decent. It's not something that I'm particularly excited about, but I think that it will be a decent machine, at least for the European farms, and I'm probably going to pre-order myself, so I probably will have it and be able to look around at it. I just noticed something here. Got some rocks. I wonder are they bringing some kind of rocks back. I think it was FS13 we had rocks. There's some over there too. I just noticed that. Well, those are both positives. The clouds, I'll talk about this probably a little bit later, but the clouds have not been good since they switched to the new dynamic sky. The problem is not having 3D clouds. The problem is there's nothing on the Z direction. It's just basically like a flat plane. They look a little bit lifeless. I'm hoping that between now and the release they'll be able to update that a little bit. Here's a preview of our cattle system. I don't see many changes between what we had before and what we have now. This ground looks way too clean to be a cattle barn, at least in my opinion. But this is the new cattle system. Looks like we're getting the self-propelled mixer again. Got a little preview of the clothing options for the players, which I believe will be significantly more diverse than we had in the previous game. And we can kind of see some of the lighting effect also. One thing that I've noticed for a while is that FS games have really light shadows, and they still don't have shadows in buildings. If you look under this machine here, this is underneath a machine that's inside a dimly lit environment, and it still is just as bright as everything else around it. So stuff like that is not really improved. Many things have improved, but stuff like that. I talked on my page about the rain on the windshields. We still don't have that. And again, the game is not released yet, but I would hope that those things would at some point become a priority. One bug I did notice from the early previews is this here. I don't know what's going on, but that is not on the forks. And I really, really hope that the new game has much better physics for pallets, for bales, for logs, for other dynamic objects. Because this right here is concerning. I don't know. Looks like it's kind of clipping through there. It's kind of half on a fork there. This should be fixed by the time it's released, and I really hope it is. And again, we got more clothing options here. Short sleeve shirt, probably long sleeve shirt. I think I've seen a sweatshirt somewhere, hats. So that'll be cool. I do like that a lot. You can kind of see the new grass as well. A little bit bright, a little bit pastel-y, but it's all right. And then more of the clouds. Now those are just a couple things that stood out to me. I do have these various folders. And I'll start with the seasons. We've kind of seen what the seasons mode was going to look like before, but they showed us some more previews. Spring versus summer. One thing I do like a lot about the default seasons compared to the modded seasons is that the colors are a lot less. They're more muted. I know in FS19 seasons, the spring trees were so bright that it starts to look cartoony. So I think that this will be an improvement visually, and I'm really impressed by these lows. This is a long ways away, and we can see those trees like they're right in front of us, and they don't look ridiculous. Some of these crop textures, I immediately am going to want to replace them or at least adjust the colors. But the trees and the foliage, the grass looks pretty decent. This is summer, a little bit darker green, but nothing too crazy. Again, very nice looking tree foliage and whatever. And then we skip to fall. I would like to see more variety, honestly. When every tree is the same color, it starts to look a little cartoony. Some dead trees or trees that have no leaves. Some trees that have, a little bit different yellow, maybe an orange or something. That would kind of be nice to see. Those are very small details, but on a larger map with a lot of foliage, only yellow looks a little bit strange. And then finally we got winter, which, as I believe I discussed before, we have snow. This is likely a shader. But we're going to have snow on branches. We have snow on roofs, snow on the ground. And it looks like there's various levels of snow depth as well, which is what we had with the modded seasons. So that's good. Another comparison here. This is spring here. Summer. Not much of a difference, which is realistic. Fall. We got, again, a lot of yellow. In our evergreens, we got some pines here. These look exactly like the FS19 pines, which are really crooked, super slim, and they're not fun to log with. So hopefully we get some different trees at some point. But what I want to point out is these rocks. As you guys can see, again, I don't know if this is shader related or what, but we have snow on the rocks. And that is cool. That's something that Seasons, the mod, did not really have, unless you added it as, some kind of map or something, or the way it would not settle like this is what I'm trying to get at. This looks really good. Seasons is something that I'm definitely looking forward to. One thing I did hear though, and is that we're only going to have 3-day seasons, and I'm pretty sure that some modder is going to have to fix that pretty quickly, because if you're running a larger farm like the stuff we've run on Can Farm, we've done 1,000 acres on Medicine Creek once. We're doing 400 right now on Can Farm. There's absolutely no way that we're going to be able to cut all that in 3 days, or even 4 or 5. We need longer seasons. So someone will hopefully mod that and give us more options. What else do we have? This one stood out to me. I don't know how many people paid attention to this, but if you look at these tires, this is some kind of dirt system that enables the dirt to change color depending on the ground, which is kind of like real dirt color of the mod. So hopefully that'll be included on other stuff, including like attachments and stuff. But that is something that did stand out to me. More clothing again. We got some like a Carhartt kind of jacket and then a different kind of hat. So there's little things that they seem to be improving. I do see the snow appears to still be a cartoony snowflake. So hopefully at some point we'll have more improvement in the particle system. But this is a default snowplow that will be included in the game, and then looks like it'll just attach to the front hitch on the tractor. Another thing I guess we can point out is this is close to night, and the sky is nowhere near dark enough again. So hopefully, these are things that I hope that they'll fix over time, improve the graphics from the back end. Again, talking about snow on roofs, this looks excellent. This really looks excellent. It's burying the cars, it's burying everything. We got snow on the trees, got snow back there. This looks really good. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. And then we have snow plowing. This looks like Elmhurst Town, which this doesn't look super great. It kind of looks like our current material system, but again, the seasons will be a nice add-on. Does not appear that our lights cast shadows because this mailbox is just kind of floating. But it's just kind of a preview of what snow plowing is going to look like in the game. And again, we can see snow on the tires. If you guys have questions or comments, I'll respond to those towards the end. But I am definitely looking at chat, and I see some funny stuff and some stuff that I will go back and look at. I'll learn a little bit. This is an object that will disappear depending on the weather. So if it is winter, you'll see this snowman pop up, probably when it snows. In the summer, he will disappear. And that's similar to defaults on the modded seasons. And the same kind of goes for these two pictures here. We've got some covers over the restaurant chairs, and then that kind of goes away as the weather starts to improve. And I think the final thing I have in this folder is the crop calendar, which they talked about at length in FarmCon. This looks exactly like modded seasons, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It looks like you'll not be able to grow cotton in places that cannot support it, and so on and so forth. But it'll give us a kind of an idea of when to harvest stuff and when not to. So that'll be interesting to have again as a part of the default game. Let's talk about crops here. This picture here is disappointing. And the reason it's disappointing is because to this day we still do not have stubble. It looks like stubble. I believe this is sorghum. Someone in chat can correct me if I'm wrong. Well, let's just look at sorghum. So there is a sorghum plant. And let's look at sorghum harvest. Yeah, so there's the nice, let me see if I can find a larger picture here. Let's go, yeah, it's a good one right here. So as you can see, this stubble looks kind of like corn stubble. Very thick. It's a lot of density, crop density. You have rows. It's pretty obvious that something has been cut. And these little stumps sticking out of the ground is not really exactly how I think it should look. This is something that'll be easily fixed, but it's something that we've been dealing with for several game versions at this point, and it needs to improve. Crop loads have improved greatly. If you can see, this is soybeans over here. There's really no circle of death in the distance. This looks like wheat. There's really no. The transition is fairly smooth between. This is again. We got this area here, which did not get covered with stubble, and it's kind of, or chaff, I mean, and it's kind of thin. Then we have our crop, which again, the crops look way better, but the stubble still needs improvement, and the modding community will provide that as time goes on. So another picture here. I don't believe this is a different kind of crop. It doesn't say what it is, but we have better looking stubble, but I believe this is chopped straw mixed with stubble on the ground. This is probably a barley or a wheat or something. So that kind of gives you an idea of what it'll look like after you've harvested a field, which does look good, but we need taller stubble. And for an example of that, I'll pull up my Can Farm screenshots folder here, and I'll show you guys. This is FS19. Now I haven't implemented tire tracks in this, but like this looks really lush and really thick. It also harms the frame rate a little bit, but it looks a lot better in my opinion than this. And so hopefully over time, maybe in an update to the game, or before the game is released, they'll retool this a little bit and give it a little more height. It'll never be like this, but hopefully it'll be a little bit improved. What else do we have here? We got a little bit of the chopped straw effect now in the ground textures. That'll be interesting. Looks better than default textures right now, and I think that'll be, again, another improvement. One thing I did notice, I don't have the video, but the traffic, if you go back to the information about the new map, the traffic looks to be moving way faster than it does in 19. So hopefully that means that they've improved the AI and how it reacts to how things are. Because right now the AI, they run into stuff and they have a lot of issues. So hopefully that changes. I believe this picture I took because I wanted to kind of show at a certain point the textures do start to disappear and go back to dirt. You can kind of see that there. The grass here kind of disappears, and so on and so forth. On the topic of crops, we have vineyards now. These look pretty solid. I believe these are 2D grapes. Yeah, I think they're 2D, which is fine. I don't plan on doing a lot of grapes myself. Not really a crop that I'm particularly keen on, but it's nice to see new crops added to the game. I believe this is a different map. This is probably the same Swiss map that was included in that add-on. More pictures of sorghum, a little bit yellow here, but nice density. Kind of see some of the buildings back there. More pictures of the grapes. And I think these are grapes as well. So, kind of interesting there. This is more grapes. I believe we're going to have working gates for the first time in a default game. And that is very exciting. That'll make doors and a lot of other stuff easier to implement. So Giants is making some improvements in that area. Kind of a preview of some of the equipment that's coming out. This is a Landini, I believe I heard. Real small tool, fits between the rows, but kind of clean up some of this weeds that are growing in between the vineyard. A tiny fence. I believe this is the electric fence. No, I don't think it is. For a second, I thought it was the electric fence, but I don't think it is. Again, more small equipment for use in the vineyards. And I think that's it. Let's talk. Let's talk about Elmhurst. And again, guys, I will respond to your questions and comments towards the end. That way I can bust through these pictures pretty quickly. What I do notice about this new map is that they actually really put in effort. Previous maps, let's see, we had Ravenport for 19, we had Hoggenstead in 13, we had Goldcrest in 15, and I'm forgetting the name of the 17 map. I might be saying those wrong, but the point is that previous American maps, or American-esque maps, were not very good. And this map here, like out of the gate, is something I want to play. I'm going to do significant work to the map, probably almost immediately. I'm going to start by working on the foliage a little bit, see if I can get some thicker stubble, and then probably a couple other adjustments here and there. But this, as a map, looks beautiful. We got lots of trees. We got nice foliage. And it seems to be universal. The power lines have actual cable now. Looks like our animal yard there, which has lots of nice detail. Got some wind turbines in the distance. Various types of trees. We got just some of these kind of small side roads. This grass here in this particular picture looks really excellent. Nice buildings. It's a nice detail that probably won't be usable, but still is cool to have. This is a baseball field. Some nice barns. The dock there. The little details I've always liked, because these objects are what ends up helping make a map detailed, a modded map. Without these, you're kind of at a loss. You can pull stuff from other maps, and that sometimes causes problems, but the stuff the Giants produces generally is pretty high quality. It has normal maps, it has spec maps, and nice weathering, like this kind of log bench or log trough or whatever. Again, it looks good. So that kind of stuff will be very usable. More pictures of kind of a harvest. There's our gas station. This right here I'd pull out of this map in a heartbeat and put it on an updated Cannon Farm or any kind of other American map. This is a high quality building. Just a little bit more. There's some logging back here, or appears to be more of those pine trees. A nice little pass. What else do we have? We got a sidewalk here. This looks like it's part of the town. More of the town. That's the same gas station. Stuff like this here, like when I start playing, I'm just going to plow these fields together. So I can have like one kind of weirdly shaped field. There's our baseball field there. And I believe this is the highway. I think it is, yeah. That's our interstate highway, which I'll have more pictures of in a second. More of the farms, kind of a long distance view showing really impressive load detail. That might be corn. It looks like corn. Yeah. Whatever crop that is not rendering from this distance. More Elm Creek. Yeah, there's more of the interstate right there. Nice old barn. This is the area that I showed you guys in the seasons preview. This is like a little, it's like kind of like a mine or a little gully, but this will be nice to have. I'm sure someone will turn this into some kind of construction purpose. There it is in the summer. There's a creek. Got a nice train bridge here. Even though the train does not appear to have changed at all, which is a little bit of a bummer. But there's another little bridge. And there's our train there. Same locomotive, same cars as 19. Does not look like we'll be able to disconnect the cars still, which I really have been hoping for a while. It'll add a lot to the game, but they just have not added it. Got a little covered bridge here. More views of these clouds, which I really do not like these clouds. We'll get through it. The lighting itself looks really solid here. It's a nice dusk, kind of golden hour kind of look. More foliage, more town. There's our, these fields right here, I just plow these all together into one field. That's what I would do. More. This right here is the best grain mill that Giants has ever produced. And again, this kind of stuff will find its way into many, many more maps. This is a really solid structure right here. As are these red barns. A lot of high quality objects. This is our, I guess like a bowling alley or something. Just a nice little detail. I'm sure it's not functional, but it's a nice building that we can use in other maps. More of the baseball field. More of the lush foliage. This grass looks really good here. And something they talked about, which is exciting, is that stuff is not going to render when you cannot see it. So like there's some bins back here, but apparently they're using some kind of new technology that will prevent all of these bins from being constantly rendered by the game even when they're out of sight. And I think that'll be a real improvement over what we currently have, because it'll allow us to have more objects and more detail without some of the issues we have now with lag, especially on larger maps. This is more of the town, more of the small fields. Nice bin system here. This looks really good. It looks like we kind of have at least 2 layers of clouds, which again, if they just added a little bit of height to these clouds, they look a lot better. They look like pancakes at this point. There's some houses, diner there, and then this picture I believe I shared on my Facebook page. These highways, this is good. Like this is solid stuff. There's not really many American maps, even modded ones, that have interstates, but this looks like a realistic interstate with, like some service roads. We got a nice exit ramp that's nice and long, kind of better than the ones we have in ATS. So this right here, with the improved sounds, with the improved the improvements to the game, this will be something I'll be using quite a bit. Kind of more of the same, more of the highway. Looks like the highway goes from one side of the map to the other, which is nice. I like this bridge here. It's a nice, cool detail. And again, these bins look really solid. More barns. I think no. I don't have time to go every single one of these in excruciating detail, but the point is that they really put an effort in, and it really paid off. It's a really nice looking map. Moving on, productions. Basically, Global Company is now going to be a part of the default game. And that means we'll be able to take grain to the bakery and have them make cakes out of it, or bread, or whatever, and then deliver those, I think, to end users. So I believe this is an oil processing plant, probably for the grapes. There's some of the cakes and strawberries. I don't know if those strawberries will be a crop, but we do have strawberries on that cake there. This is another, I think this is one of the bakeries. There's a grain mill here. I think it's the same building. And so basically we now have more to do with our existing what will we harvest, because right now in the game in 19 you buy or you harvest something, you sell it, and that's the end. Whereas this, you can actually produce stuff with it. Global Company was a huge groundbreaking innovation for the modding community, and I think that having it as default will allow us to do a lot more than just stuff like making cakes. I think someone probably will use it to make a functional sawmill if they don't have one out of the gate. We might be able to produce, might be able to get into mining quicker. There's a lot of things that can come of this. So that's really good. And then the final thing I wanted to highlight is the new build mode, which is a placeable system with improvements. Starting with these fences, this is a first for the FS series and something that I personally have wanted for a really long time. I've played other games like train sims, and a lot of those games allow you to quickly cover an area with a road or fences, power lines. You basically just stretch stuff, and it fills the space, and that's what they showed. A lot of variety in different types of fences, and then we'll have gates as well that we can connect with the fences. So hopefully people will be able to extend this concept to include other stuff, but this is a huge step in the right direction. Something that Trailer Park Farms pointed out, and another person else in my group, we have Meridian bins, which actually, so I have Google open, let's have a look here. So Meridian, we have these in FS 19. We had them in 17 as well. What it looks like from this picture, we have American grain bins. So let's see if we can find them. Grain corrugated bins. Corrugated, yes. So it looks like we're going to have something just like this included in the default game. Which for me, with Can Farm and some of the other projects that are similar to that, this is a huge deal, because a lot of the bin models that we have are incredibly high poly. They lag the game. They cause issues. Having default ones out of the gate will be a big deal. They appear to be different sizes also. There's different price. And something that it says right here, which is what a friend of mine mentioned in our chat, you also need an auger for this silo. I don't know, let's see, does Meridian make augers? Meridian does make augers. So there's a possibility that out of the gate we'll have something like that, which would be humongous for, like I say, Canadian style farms and other stuff. So that's very exciting, and it also it'll speed the process of getting stuff converted, because a lot of times stuff does not port over well between games, but this should give us a head start on that. So that's a kind of a big deal. Looks like the new terrain painting system has multiple ways that you can increase the terrain instead of just have it pop up and make it like a big mound. This is kind of like a plateau. I don't know what this one is. This one is some kind of a slope. So they added a lot of options that'll be good. And we can see the painting system for different types of terrain. We have placeable trees now, which is a first. And yeah, more fences. I think that was it. So yeah, all of these things show me that they've definitely put in an effort, and I'm very hopeful. And like I said, even though this machine specifically is not that exciting to me as an American farmer, like, it does seem really detailed, and hopefully that'll be the case for all the default stuff. So without further ado, I will read some comments. Ryan, yes, your bins are the best out there, but there are definitely some that are not as decent as the ones you produced. Eric says the clouds extend to the horizon, which is a win. I did not really pay any attention to that, but let's go back. See Alan first. And let's look. I don't know. There's still a gap here. Right here, there's a gap between the horizon and the cloud layer, which, if they continue with the way 19 was with clouds, you'll have a cloudy day, and yet there's still sun on the horizon. So hopefully they fix this, but we will see. TXR says there's a decent U.S. gas station. Yeah, I totally agree. one of the better models that I've seen in a while, and I've never really had a problem with their models. They really have. They've upped their game significantly over time. Colton says, will you be able to switch from European to American style tractors? That we have not heard. But what we do know is that there are several machines in the game that have proper American warning bars. If I go back to crops. Now here's our case. Out of the gate, there's no red and white blocks. They have the proper deal everywhere. So this is a huge sign. That better things are coming. Jeremy says, does one screenshot have shaders and the other is stock footage? Yes, Jeremy, that is correct. My pictures, I'm running, I believe, KMN shader. But I'm not talking about the shader itself. I'm talking about the foliage. The thickness of the foliage, and just the tire tracks. There's a lot of things that I think this is the best that the game has ever looked. And I hope that we'll kind of get a little closer to that with default stuff. Another comment from Colton. He says, well, there will be dynamic ground for digging. Not that we can see. I saw the side dump, and I posted about that on my page, but I don't think that we will have dynamic dirt of any kind, which is kind of a bummer. But what do you do? Neon says this is a very serious conversation. Yes, I agree. Eric says there's new tree models. Yes, they're much improved, and season's compatible out of the gate. So that'll be. I know that one of the first things I'm going to do when I do get it is to try to get my map in there and then swap out the trees and see how it looks. Ryan says parallax mapping is old stuff. Skyrim modders did that years ago. In PBR, they are called height map or displacement map using subdivision. I am not really a tech guy, so I do not know a lot about some of the technology involved, but what I do know is that they tried to do 3D ground, I heard, and it almost broke the game. They got down to like 3 FPS, and they were running like a pretty solid graphics card. So the parallax deal is better than what we've had, but it's not as good as it could be, maybe, but it's still an improvement. Nitro says the clouds have 0 depth. I totally agree. Momoet says Erlengrat. Yeah, that's the name of the map that I keep forgetting. Havoc said the saddle track looks good. I agree. Yeah, the saddle track does look good. I won't use it probably much, but it is pretty solid. Havoc says lime mining I would love to basically have, but console miners would beg for mining. That's not possible without global company. And yeah, the mining side, I don't expect that. That's too much to ask for. What I do expect is that having global company default will allow us to implement stuff faster and not have to worry about some of the conflicts that we've had in the past. Dominic said, have I touched on the trucks yet? I have not. Let's see here. I believe was it right there? Blog. I believe they mentioned it. Mac is confirmed as a brand. Let's see here. I've heard that there's going to be a Mac Anthem as a early giveaway, and then there's a Mac Superliner. Should be back here. A couple more posts. Yeah. It was right towards the beginning. Maybe it's not in here. I don't see it. But anyways, yeah, Mac is confirmed. And we will have Load King returning as a trailer brand. And then Dominic also says, I would like to have seen an American working belt trailer. The belt trailer is not, it's not really possible without a lot of extra scripting, because the belts themselves basically have to be like components. And that's something that it's puzzled the modding community, and Giants is really not, at this point, really, they're not ahead of the modding community. They're kind of running neck and neck. So I think hoppers and the side dump and other stuff like that is about all we can expect right now. And then, yeah, the old trucks, I think, will be part of a larger pack of older machines. We've seen the 7810 Deere. Someone believes they've seen like a 4000 series, like a 4850. There's the older Massey, and there's probably going to be some other stuff. So hopefully we get a pack of older machines to go with some of the new stuff that's always included. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. I like a lot of what I see. I like the map. I like the default seasons. I like the little stuff like the clothing. I wish they had pushed a little harder. That's the only thing I really wish. I wish they had a segment dedicated to physics in the FarmCon series, because physics are one of the worst parts of the game right now. And if they can improve that, the game itself will improve. If the physics are the same, and I'm not talking about the vehicles. The vehicles were okay. They could use some help. And they look like they've improved a little bit. But it's the bales, the logs, the pallets, that kind of stuff. If they don't improve that, the game is really gonna be a letdown in terms of handling stuff. So I'll stay on here for about 5 to 10 more minutes, maybe 15, and if you guys have more comments or questions. But I think there will be a lot more news over the next few weeks. Someone talked about how we're probably going to start seeing the fact sheet soon. We'll be able to kind of get an idea of what will be included in the game. Right now, I don't see American logging equipment becoming a thing. I think we'll still have Ponce and maybe Komatsu and possibly some Deere. But it looks like the logging will be on Erlengrat, or I'm still struggling with that name. But that's what I would assume. They did say that trees will make a sound when they hit the ground, which is something that someone is actually currently working on for 19. And if we get that for 22, that'll be a big realism improvement. The sounds overall are way better. They've improved sounds on the trailers. They've improved sounds on the machines. They've improved just sound in general. And sound plays a huge role in making a game more realistic. So hopefully the sound will just be part of a series of improvements that'll make this the best farming sim ever. It has the potential to be that, but it's what is actually produced. I have not heard anything about logging either, Dominic. I would expect there not to be much of a change, but I do not know. We will see. Logging has always been kind of the secondary thought when it comes to FS games, so hopefully we'll begin to see more of a focus on, because logging is a form of farming. Loggers are farmers. It's a crop that takes a lot longer to grow, obviously, and mature, but it does have a spot in the Farming Simulator series, realistically. And the equipment, hopefully, will at some point match that. If you guys are watching, be sure to like the video and subscribe if you have not. But that's about all I have. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Saw some pretty decent numbers. Watch-wise, we had, I think, got pretty close to 20 viewers at one point. So thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I will try to do another one of these at some point in the future, kind of to discuss what is new as we hear stuff. Maybe once a month, maybe a little bit less than that, but I am hopeful to see more and hear more about what makes FS22 a better game. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again soon. Have a good night.